And now we get to it, to I'm sure the exquisite delight of anybody who happens to be a Camelot fan, with additional regard to being a fellow Melanon, as I understand, or may I have the title wrong, or an Infinitor, or anybody who's just a fan of Melissa Bonny in general. You'll forgive me, perhaps I'm a bit later on things than I'd like to be, but I've been in a real mood the last couple of months in regards to not just spending a lot of time with Ad Infinitum. Many of you know how much of an Infinitor I've become, even though I've yet to join the Patreon. I'm still going to try. Everybody made frequent requests for me to do so, and I 100% will. Life's complicated. Anywho, in the meantime, I've been spending a lot of hours getting accustomed to Melissa Bonny's vocal talents in other collaborative works outside of Ad Infinitum, and I'm looking into a few others that she's been with, some of which he recommended to me as well. I've been spending a lot of time with Melissa Bonny as a vocalist. She is a favorite of mine. So approaching her in terms of Camelot, I'm excited. I mean, the last unclean vocalist we had on Camelot's appearances, that being from the Shadow Theory with Lauren Hart, who really impressed me. I'd never heard of her before, but I'm like, because there's a lot of Lauren Harts too. I experienced a lot of trouble in the first video being like, who is this? Until I found out, like, oh, here's a clarification point. There's a lot of Lauren Harts in the world, especially in the music scene. Anywho, she really impressed me. So to bring on an unclean vocalist, as I understand, this track is taking that direction with Melissa Bonny, who can do a pretty mad growl and has a good melodic vocal set as well. I'm game to hear it. I can't wait. I've been taking the ride with you on Camelot's The Awakening as promised. You've seen it now, or proof, in full. We're going for the entire album. Someone just pined away at me to check it out. This piece was guaranteed. I knew, besides, because normally I run by a visualizer structure, and they're like, which tracks get, maybe a lyric video or a performance video or a music video or something like that is usually what I do in an effort to be diplomatic to the many artists I have to consult and to be accommodating to my schedule. But again, incorporating this one as well, this was an exception because of the Melissa Bonny talents. Like, I had to get to this one, obviously. But, someone just kept pining away at me, and ever since I listened to the first 3 tracks off of The Shadow Theory with you, and then listened to the entirety of the album myself, I'm like, okay, this is going to determine it. I have to spotlight them, and I've been having a great time with you. In terms of listening to a highly adept symphonic, I call them symphonic in some respect, because their music absolutely attributes that. If it's not been cataloged elsewhere with that attribution, they're more recognized in the power metal territory, and they certainly fit there, but I've loved the atmosphere of these pieces. They're such exquisite works of art, in my opinion. So to hear Melissa Bonny come in, I'm like, yes, please, I can't wait. I'm sure many of you, again, who are Camelot fans who've been requesting for a while, but I get to them, you're getting that perspective today, especially for anybody who's been excited for the Melissa Bonny attribution. And there's another appearance here. It's not just Melissa Bonny. And she's a recent debut on this channel, another long-time request on part of Epica, and I will get to them eventually. I'm meaning to fast track because I just, in fact, yesterday published the collaborative work between Epica's, one of their lead singers, maybe the lead singer, Simone Simons, who has quite the fan base. Just based on the under 24-hour period of interaction I had with a number of you who approached that video, that one catapulted fast. And I'm like, that was a surprise to me, because I was not trying to toot my own horn or anything. I'm still trying to express a little humility here, but that one got a quick drive in views. Again, just the minute I upload it, and I'm sitting back thinking, I was kind of late on it. Like, I didn't expect that. Usually it takes some time for sud views to come in, but no, it's like, there's a lot of Simone Simon fans, and I can understand, or Simon's fans, and I can understand why, again, based on that initial interaction. That was my first with her, and she's extremely talented. I love her as a higher inflection operatic vocalist. She's so amazing, and many of you shared in that respect as well. And again, as I said, those of you who've been pining away for Epica, you've been requesting that one as well, to the rate of Nightwish and a couple others as well that I will maybe credit in post, because there's been a few that have come through like by name ardently. This is going to be a fun pairing between Melissa Bonny and Simone Simons. Two very distinct ranges and different elevations of pitch. I can't wait to hear how it's blended though with Camelot. Ooh, and I'm grateful to actually say, I don't like to be late on things, though it's my forte, apparently. If I'd done this early, I would have had to maybe gone back and do an extra video. Maybe I wouldn't have. In this case, you're getting it. And I was hoping for another visualizer or something for this album, because it did feel a bit light, admittedly. We have one. A live performance show with my understanding. Though Simone Simons is not credited in the video, let's see if she appears maybe in some way, or maybe you just hear her in the music, but at least Melissa Bonny does. We're getting a Camelot live performance video of New Babylon. I couldn't ask for anything better. Or maybe they could have done like maybe a narrative focused one of CGI employ, I don't know. again, it could be open to, destination of what everybody wants. This, 100%. I wanted a live performance in part. Actually, I didn't even know I wanted a live performance, and I'm like, well, that probably would be good, and I got that. So we're going to get a live visualizer performance, as well as maybe a herald for me, as I've said before, in some respects of Camelot. They're going to be touring in the U.S. this year, in the summertime, and I don't really want to go to Seattle, but I will for that, along with, I forget the name of one of the groups, begins with a B. I'm going to try and get on them in terms of coverage, in case I'm able to make it to the concert, which I'm really going to try. Zondria is going to be opening. I really want to see them. It'd be my first ever European group. That would be so cool too. I mean, there's so many that I would love to say, like, hey, you were the first one I went and saw, but I want to see a first one, period. Zondria would be amazing. Camelot, though, I'd love to go see them live. So far, this album has had such a great scope to it that seeing it in a live show context would be great. This will be a temptation, because I know they toured where they got this footage. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and queue up New Babylon. Also, I say unclean vocals with respect to Melissa Bonny earlier because I did see the Instagram video she posted where she was saying, I forget how she phrased it, but that she was playing out of two ranges, from a higher inflection to the growl that she's really well known for. I'm excited to see it manifest. So again, that's maybe my point of entry. It was kind of a funny video, but let's enjoy this together. Whether you be knowledgeable Camelot fans, maybe you're longer in your days than me, or fellow Melanons and Infinitors and ever Melissa Bonny fans, maybe you haven't humored her yet. You're going to have a fun time with her. 100% take it from me. I've been spending a lot of time with her over the past couple of months in terms of her music entertainments, and there's been a lot. And I haven't finished yet. I'm still sifting my way through, but she's a regular on this channel, with good respect. She's extremely talented as a vocalist. I love spotlighting good music and good art. Many of you know that it is a prioritized art form for me in favorability. Camelot has been a delight to humor, especially on an early emergence basis, where at one point I was a first introduction. Maybe some of you approach from that dynamic. I hope for so. I really would like to have a mixture of viewpoints with this, right? Knowledgeable audience members on Camelot that are, advanced in your days before me, as well as prospective new listeners. I think you're going to be thrilled if you happen to fall in that territory. 100%. So, New Babylon. I like the name. And the lyrics as well as the story are pretty advantageous. I like this. And not just a Melissa Bonny as well to forget, Simone Simons. I can't wait to hear her again. And at some point, Epica incoming. I don't know when that'll be, but I'm trying. Anywho, I'm going to go ahead and cue this up. We got the visualizer. That'll pop up alongside the song. And as many of you know who have graced my music coverage before, lyrics are provided in my videos. I will be inputting that manually. If you want to read along with the message of the piece, you'll be able to see that once the song commences, along with the video, which I can't wait to watch. Now. I love the choir version. This really feels symphonic. Good basis. So this is where Simone Simons has a bit of an overlap too, from my understanding. You can hear her. Oh, this has an ancient flair. I like it. Nice high reflection. Good change and beautiful riff placement. Great scope on these choruses, especially on the evolution of it from the previous iterations. There's Melissa, I see her. Okay, subtle intro. This must have been so much fun for you Camelot fans to see this live in person. Good choice for her. Beautiful duality between Melissa and Tommy. It's perfect. Okay, a riff. So far it's just been unclean vocals. Oh no, sorry, clean. On behalf of Melissa. Oh. I really hope I get to see him live. I'm gonna try. I know Melissa won't be there, but I hope they perform this number. That'd be fun. Someday maybe with Melissa. That'd be great. Oh. Perfect. I knew I would love that number. Is anybody shocked? I think we're probably all in the same camp. Oh boy, the vocal pairing on behalf of Melissa and Tommy is wonderful. And Simone doing the choir presence on the background of the operatic. Well, it's kind of a lower operatic range, but you can hear her. She's distinctive. She kind of fits in maybe a vocal overlap on part of some other layering as well, but oh, it's there. I thought it was a great intro, by the way. Beware the dynasty spreading conformity. You know, I've said before, when I come across content that I produce on this channel, I always operate from at least some measure, because it's just immutable to my character, Christian perspective. So I hear and maybe it's partly because of a timeliness as well. I am part of well, we just closed up for the summer, and then we're going to be resuming, I think, in like September or something, but I've been part of a men's Bible study for the last year or so, and we've been spending the last 2 years going through Revelation. It's a complex book to unravel. So, listening to this song with the opening, and also in the historical, I imagine it's more so resorted to the historical territory, but you think of like Babylon, it's got I forget what they call it in Revelation, it's like the city of Babylon, and then, you know, in history as well. It just kind of has that feeling when I listen to the chorus, that's what it evoked in mood. So it's just kind of funny, at least that element crossed me, even though it's not directly related to the song, and it was just probably taking on a more figurative direction, that I have maybe to spend more time to best analyze and to gauge, to properly understand it and to articulate its vision. But I just like the way it was explored. The secret ministry, we are born, we are sold, we're deprived of the chance of truth of our rights. We are hiding from a light. I like that. Maybe there's sort of like a real world poetic comparison being made to Babylon and maybe some constructions in the real world. But I love Simone's placement there on vocals. Again, early introduction of Apocalyptica, but she just astounded me there, as she did, obviously, by many of you, again, who commented. It just surprised me. Like I said, that level of interaction was so swift, but there was a lot of Simone Simons and Epica fans, so I will definitely try and fast track coverage of them at some point. Now, the mainstay there, besides her, again, to credit her fairly, is Tommy and Melissa. Tommy's vocals on that, the higher inflections, but it's great to listen to. I love the softer balance, especially when it gets a bit harsher, when the music kicks up, when Melissa comes into the song. The blend. I can't stress how exquisite it is. It's so perfect. It's such a gorgeous harmony. And Melissa, again, is very strong in both respects on the unclean vocal side. I love that she got a chance to spotlight that here. And just, man, I watched this, and it was a fun live video. Like, I know it's probably going to be a while, you know, till I get to be in person for a live showing where, you know, Melissa Bonny's singing. Hopefully Kamelot this year. I'm really trying, because I'd love to see this number. Maybe, you know, I'm not trying to overshadow Melissa at all, but I'm thinking again of a lineup of the tour, and with Zandria there, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if they do that, but maybe they do New Babylon, because it's a ferocious number, but I'd love to see it performed live. There's such a great force to it. Maybe Amber. I'm not trying to compare here, but both Melissa Bonny and Amber Voorhees of Zandria have exquisite vocal ranges. Maybe she could fill in for the America show. Maybe. But, to be fair, she'd be a fun substitute, you know, because again, we have to, you'll operate by the circumstances. But the hope would be that one day I get to see Melissa Bonny and KAMELOT perform together live for myself. This is just a taste for me, but it was just so much fun that maybe if I never get to, you know, God willing, we'll see. But that, ooh, I just loved it, man. I can't stress it enough, man. I just want to see this live so badly. As I was saying, the pairing and association between Tommy and Melissa on clean vocals works exquisitely. It's perfect. It's so streamlined. I was just taken aback by how good it is. But then her unclean vocals, it's amazing. I love Melissa's talents. I love listening to her. And I hope you did too. But for those of you, this is the first introduction. The intensity of that song though too, it's still driving, and the riff structures. Oh man, I love the structure to it. It's a great number. One of the best on the album for sure. I knew I'd love it, and oh man, it's everything I hoped it would be. It's stronger, even from my expectations, and I knew it would be good, but woo! I loved it. One of my favorite pieces so far. I hope you really liked that one too. I'd imagine, again, all you longtime Melanons, Infinitors, KAMELOT fans, I'm sure you did. And is there a special name for Epica fans or Simone Simons fans? I know she plays a little more of a subtle role here, but it's a fun appearance to have. You know, I loved hearing her on Apocalyptica, and I can't wait to dig deeper with her talents as well. But that's a wonderful piece. This is more Melissa in credit focus, and she's always just so much fun to listen to. I hope for those of you that she is maybe a first introduction for you, that you are enamored enough to go and dig back with many of her credits, and there are too many to mention, many I haven't gotten to yet, that I'm sure my comment section, here's a good rule of thumb. If anybody approaches this video in terms of comments on a first name basis, I'm sure I probably don't need to request this, but maybe you fellow Infinitors and Melanons can catch them up to speed. I don't know. Again, I like the community that music can foster, for lack of I tend to prefer the term fellowship. Community is a bit overused. I'm less of a cliche guy, or at least I try to be. I love the effect that we can have in terms of mutual enjoyment and shared experiences on part of how beautiful of an art form music is. And I'd imagine some of you resonate with that quite well. So having more recommendations thrown your way, like Melissa Bonny, right, and many of the talents that she's associated to, I'm sure would come as a welcome introduction for anybody. And again, if you're knowledgeable, if you're a fellow Melanon and Infinitor, feel free to provide that down below for anybody who might be inquiring, if anybody graces. And I hope there are some of you that, again, KAMELOT's me a first-name approach, and Melissa Bonny as well. Though I know many of you are going to be like, oh, no, I know both. And Simone Simons, right? I welcome everybody here. I'd love to hear your thoughts down below on the piece overall and your angular approach if you wish to disclose that. For me, one of my favorite numbers. And there's been a couple that have really stressed and strained thus far, though I've liked the entirety of Awakening. 2 more tracks to consult as I make my way through and finish out the album, but it's been so strong thus far. I think that's going to be one of the stronger pieces that's going to resonate in my mind. But who knows, the next 2 could be equally as strong. Let's see. But New Babylon, man, that one delivered on every respect, on music, on fun, exhilarating vibe on live performance. It's just a temptation to go watch the show, and I want to see it as soon as possible. And we'll see what happens on the live tour. Again, like I said, I mean, not to overshadow, because Melissa is extremely talented, and I think, well, both are adeptly talented, but, you know, she's not going to be on the American tour. I think Amber could be a good fill-in. I'd love to hear about that down below as well if you wish to opine on that. For anybody who's knowledgeable on Zandria or Amba, from her vocal set, again, well, she and Melissa have some similarities on part of, again, the melodic range and the scream, but Amba does more of like an operatic tone too that she can mix in terms of her vocal elevation. How would you feel if she were to play that fill-in role? Again, the ideal would be to see Melissa live in the occupancy of that role, or the dynamic of the song, because again, it's credited to her and she's the one presented here in terms of her vocal or voice talents on the recording. But would you be okay with Amber maybe stepping in? I mean, I'm not trying to impose anything here, or just like, oh, go do this. I'm just like, it's kind of a thought. I don't know. Partly because, like, yeah, I'm just sitting back going, I would love to see this live in any way to bring that number available, where possible. I'm not sure. I mean, you can't outdo Melissa's presence, though, in that, but I don't know. I think we could all pardon a substitute, just based on the circumstances of, well, not everybody's here on the tour first far in terms of going to America, at least currently. It's an impressive piece. Speaking again in regards to the tune, I knew it would be good. I'm still floored by it. Easy repeat listen. I can't wait to humor it. I have an excursion later. I'm going to be listening to this in the car on repeat. I can't wait. Oh, it's going to sound good in my stereo. Man. I'm really loving KAMELOT thus far, and the awakening is just so strong, but that piece just sits in nicely. In large credit to KAMELOT, absolutely, but I knew Melissa would deliver. She always does, and that was just great. Exquisite piece from her. As always, great vocal range. It's always a delight to showcase her talents on this channel. Apart from many other artists, she is one of my favorites. Thank you so much for watching this video. Before you bounce, feel free to drop a like and comment, subscribe to this channel with a ding on the bell, and share this video with your friends. And consider checking out the description here. There you'll find links to my other channels, as well as addresses to my other social media accounts and ways you can help support my work if you feel so inclined. May God bless you, and looking forward to when our paths cross again.